live with the community. This is the Power Platform Community Call for December 2022. Holy cow! How did we get to December already? It's so exciting. We have got 3 amazing presenters today. But first, let's talk about what we're going to talk about. We got some latest updates and news on Power Platform. We're going to see our monthly community tip with Todd. We're going to have picture time. Everybody loves picture time. And then, as I mentioned, 3 fantastic, amazing presenters. Nathalie is going to talk to us about how to get output from a Teams adaptive card with Power Automate. Dastan is going to show us how we can make HR benefits enrollment more fun with Power Apps, Power Automate, and SharePoint. Sounds like a hat trick to me. And Christian is going to show us deep linking a Power App to replicate InfoPath. So exciting. By the way, these are all first-time presenters on the call, so we're going to give them a warm welcome when we get into those presentations. So make sure you join me, everybody, and let them know how awesome they are. Let's first talk about some opportunities for you to be part of this call as well. This is your community. We want you to be empowered. We want you to feel like you are involved. So this is your opportunity to present. Our first-time presenters today, as mentioned, all 3 of them, it all started just like this. We were able to get them involved. They made a request. We communicated with them in the community. You can do that too, and you have something to show off. You are absolutely amazing at what you're all doing, and we want to see it. So please don't hesitate to reach out. You can fill out this form. We made it easy, aka.ms/ppcc demo request. If you filled it out, we're trying to get back to everybody, but feel free to reach out as well. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. We are an absolute open door and want to communicate and chat and collaborate with everybody. Now, you're going to see some samples today, and how did they get there? Well, amazing folks like you, and we have some to talk about. Daniel, the amazing Daniel Laskewitz, is going to tell us all about our newest samples.
Yes, thanks for inviting me, David. The Power Platform samples, we had 2 for Power Apps and 2 for Power Automate. The first one is from Mubarak, and it's an injured body part selection app. And it shows really cool all the body parts, and you can mark them if they are injured or something like that. It's a really cool app. There's also Louise, who did the Microsoft Graph Toolkit People Picker, which makes it really easy for you to pick all kinds of people from the address book, for instance. And Thijs created a Power Automate workflow where you can copy pages between sites for SharePoint. And last but not least, we have Taylor, who created the sample for setting Dataverse lookups. And these samples are really cool, and we would love to have more samples, of course. So please go to the link that's at the bottom of this slide if you want to contribute your own samples. And if it's your first time, you can also join the Power Platform Contributors Sharing is Caring session, which is on January 10th. And David can tell you all about that.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, you might say, I'd love to contribute. How can I do that? Well, Sharing is Caring is a program that we set up specifically to help you do just that. These are live sessions. They're hands-on. We're going to walk you through, for example, how to submit your first pull request. You may be thinking, GitHub is hard. It uses weird terms like fork and blah and blame and raw. I don't know what's going on there. Well, we're going to help you. We're going to demystify it. We're going to walk you through it together live in a session with other members like yourself, MVPs, Microsoft employees. We're going to do all these things together, and they're safe space opportunities, which means that we don't record these sessions. They're your opportunity to ask any and all questions you want. We'll even have you share your screen, walk you through it if you're having trouble. They're great ways to collaborate with the community. We've got a number of sessions coming up in January. As Daniel had mentioned, the Power Platform Samples contributor. We've got writing for the web. We've got a Power Pages one coming up. We've got a number of sessions. And again, these are great ways to learn and meet other like-minded folks within the community, because we are a global, worldwide community, and you might not be able to meet everyone around the world, but within this community you can, and you can work together. And so many, not only partnerships, but friendships have been formed through this community. So it's a great opportunity. Don't hesitate. They are all absolutely free of charge. There is no cost at all. And we're trying to make sure that they get scheduled around the times that are available for everyone, because we are a global community. So reach out if you have any questions, and we would love to see you get involved. You can learn more at aka.ms/sharingiscaring. Now, once you do contribute, you might say, well, what do I get out of that? Well, you get to help out the community, and guess what? You get some badges. Woohoo! You are going to be officially and formally recognized for all the amazing work that you're doing. Now, what does this mean? This is a recognition program that we started in connection with Credly. Yes, that Credly is the same Credly that provides those badges to you when you get Microsoft certified. So these community recognition badges will sit right alongside those. You're able to share them on LinkedIn. You're able to share them on Twitter. They get associated with your LinkedIn profile. You can print them out and send them to mom, show them how awesome you're doing. It is a great way for you also to show your clients and your managers, or both, that you are making a difference in the community. And it's our way of recognizing in a formal and official way that you are making a difference. And we appreciate all that you're doing. Now, there is still time left in December, and that means that the season of getting is available still. This is a one-time badge that's available for what was November and now December, for you to be able to get a badge for any recognition or any contribution you make through GitHub. And that means updating documentation, submitting a sample, attending a sharing is caring session. Absolutely still some time, and we've seen some great things coming up. So we've got even more coming up for 2023, in fact, some new designs and new initiatives for you to earn badges with, and we're really, really excited. So we do need you to opt in. You can do that at aka.ms/community recognition. We do need you to just do that once so that we can connect you to your Credly account, which is also free, by the way, no cost at all. So please don't hesitate to do that. And if you have any questions on that, don't hesitate to reach out again. We are an open door and want to make sure that you feel comfortable in all that you're doing within the community. All right, let's talk about some community shows and events. We're going to hand it over to the amazing April Dunnam to talk about the low-code revolution.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Yeah, so for Low Code Revolution, we didn't have any episodes in December here. We're just taking a little bit of a holiday break, like most of us are. However, we are looking forward to January because we have several new episodes coming up in January. Daniel Laskewitz is actually kicking off a series on the Power Platform CLI Exposed. So if you've never used the Power Platform CLI, you want to learn how to get started, he'll be taking you start to finish, everything you need to know about CLI. So we have episodes coming up with an overview with Kartik and solutions with David Jenny. And I also have an episode coming up with Jim Dugan talking about how you can actually do mainframe modernization with Power Apps. So pretty cool stuff coming up for the month of January. And as always, if you want to be a guest on the show, we welcome you. We have a good solutions, things that you want to show Power Platform related. Just go to that short link there, aka.ms/low code revolution guest, and submit your topic. And we have all the episodes published there at the short link. But there's more. In January, our team is also doing a Learn Live and exam readiness prep. So if you haven't taken the PL100, the Power Platform App Maker exam, and you're looking to take that, this is a free hour-and-a-half long training to kind of go over the fundamental concepts of the PL100 exam to get you really prepped for that and kind of be a last-minute thing to help you run through the fundamentals of that. So we'll have the interactive session where you can get some questions answered as well. And Daniel, myself, David Homolomo from my team will all be there to answer those questions and go over some of those fundamental topics. So you can go to that link right there, aka.ms/exam readiness live, to sign up for the free session on January 15th. And we hope to see you there. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, April. Very, very exciting stuff. And I love how interactive and collaborative we all are helping one another to learn more. Okay, let's talk about some events. We have a special opportunity here for you. The European Power Platform Conference has provided us a community called discount code. Now, what is that code? Hugo Rocks 30, right? Now, you all get 30% off if you use this. And in fact, ironically, Hugo has to pay 30% more to actually attend per person, in fact. But you know what? When we told him that, he said, for all of my friends in the community, you betcha. Aw, thank you, Hugo. So don't hesitate to use this. Hugo Rocks 30. And the offer ends in just a couple of days. You can access their site at sharepointeurope.com/European Power Platform Conference. Now, we've got another event that's coming up soon. Very excited about. Guess who's back? Yes, they're back. M365 Twin Cities. This is one of the largest community events that's been in the United States, North American area. They are rebooting now after the pandemic, and it is on Saturday, January 21st, and they've got dedicated tracks to Power Platform. This is a great opportunity. It covers a lot of regions within the U.S., so it brings in a lot of folks from the neighboring states. Absolutely free. Don't hesitate to sign up if you're within that space. There's going to be some amazing presenters, amazing sessions, and fantastic friendships and collaborations and conversations and opportunities to work with others, folks in the community. Definitely check that out. And between now and the next call, we've got some more upcoming events. M365 Saturday and AMS Sofia. Don't hesitate, check these out as well. You can always see a lot of the upcoming events at communitydays.org. It's a new site, aka.ms/community days. So I definitely want to start recognizing a lot of these as we're getting back to whatever our new norm is, and a lot of these in-person events are coming up. Don't hesitate to check out that site. You can see it at aka.ms/community days and check out all the amazing events that are going to be coming up soon. All right, now it's time for a little tip. So we're going to hand it over to Todd Baginski to talk to us about the monthly community quick tip.
Thanks, David. Great to be here, everybody. Happy holidays to all of you. And this month's monthly community quick tip, I have one from Sancho Harker. And this tip is how to quickly reduce control counts in your Power Apps. So why would you want to reduce control count in your Power App? Number one reason is your app performs faster right off the bat. Number two, it's easier to develop. When there's less controls to look at inside the editor and find what you're looking for, things go quicker. That also makes it easier to support and debug your Power App with less controls. And going down the road, it makes it easier to enhance, because anytime you have something that's simple, it's easier to enhance it than it is something that's complex. So the first approach you can take to remove controls from your Power App is you can get rid of the star controls that are automatically created in the forms that Power Apps makes for you. So what you can do instead is illustrated here. You can change the title of the card to include a conditional star at the end of the name. It's such a simple tip, isn't it? But it really helps eliminate a lot of those things. But that's not all. If we preambulate to the next slide, we will see that there's another approach we can take here. And this is removing the error message controls that are automatically generated in forms as well. Here you can see it's a two-step process in the top and bottom. And the other thing that is interesting here about this one is using the car 10. You can see that in the bottom arrow. This creates a new line to display the arrow below the control. So really quick ways to go through your Power App right there and clean up the controls, make it really simple. So we would like to thank Sancho for that one. And you can find not just these two tips, but tons of them on his blog. So check out this website you see right here. This is just page 3 of all his tips and tricks that he has. And if you have a quick tip that you would like us to share on the call, please reach out to us and submit your idea, and we'd be happy to present it. Thanks, everybody. Happy holidays. I'll see you next year. Back to you, Dave.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. And thank you, Sancho, for letting us share your tip. Excellent. All right. What time is it? It is picture time. So turn on your cameras if you'd like to show the community your fantastic faces. We'll get the together mode opened up here. Here we go. And I will move this over here. All right. Still got some room here, some seats in the room for everybody. While it's filling in, let me set up the recording here. All right, got a little bit more room for everybody. Got all right, couple more seats. Almost time. Almost time. All right. Let's give it a 3-second delay. All right, let's give everybody a wave. Show the community how awesome you all are. Great to see everybody from all over the world. Such a fantastic, diverse community. Love it. You are amazing. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. All right. Now, with that, it is time for our superstars of the day.
All right. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. I'm going to be talking about how to get output from a Teams adaptive card. Just a little bit of information about myself, about me. I'm a self-taught Power Platform developer, and I've been in Power BI for however many years. But I used to actually be a former hairstylist, and I turned to IT, and I've recently started my own website, which I put a QR code on the screen for you guys. So that's a little bit about me. And let's talk about Teams adaptive cards. So for the cards, how I use it is I can use it as both an approval or as an information form. So this actually started when one of my clients asked that they wanted to have one single method of getting information out to the business. So I figured, okay, I can do an approval through a card. That's fine. Because if somebody says yes or no and adds a comment, that's an approval. So what you can do is you can do an approval, an information form. I put in something about free t-shirts. And how does it actually work? So this card gets or gives a certain output. Now, Microsoft was not being nice to me because they actually changed the way that this works. So earlier, about a month ago, you needed to do a parse JSON to get the output from the Teams card. So the most important thing is that when you're making your card, that your ID is recognizable, so that you can say approval is your approval, your yes or no, or remarks is your comment field. So how does that actually work? So let me stop this. And there's actually many different ways on making a Teams adaptive card. So what I'm currently showing you now is an explanation on how the new Power Apps preview works, which is this one. You can do an adaptive card here. But my favorite is using the adaptivecards.io designer. So this website gives you the option to actually choose themes, which theme, and the most important one is which target version. I've actually found out the hard way that if you select the wrong target version and you have some type of error in your code, or you try and use any other of the codes, it doesn't work in Teams. It doesn't display the card. So always make sure to do a Microsoft Teams target version 1.4 or newer, and then you're free to actually create your very own card. And it's as easy as just drag and drop, putting in the information. And then this one, the ID, is the most important one that you have to set. So what it actually does is at the bottom here, it gives you the code. So you don't have to write this whole code yourself. It's really easy. So you just copy paste, and let me go to my flow. So in here, I've added post adaptive card and wait for a response. So I'm posting as a flow bot, and I'm doing it in a chat. And then under message, you just copy paste that whole code from the site, and it's as easy as that. And then make sure under update message and recipient, you add your information. Now the tricky part was under here, under an email, for example, you can do this person has requested these socks. So socks choice is the ID I gave to my choice option for free socks. I mean, who doesn't love free socks? So what this actually does is it sends an email with the output from this adaptive card. However, sometimes with these adaptive cards, the output isn't directly available. So in the past, we had to do a JSON parsing, getting the output from the body from that card, parsing through the JSON code, then putting that in a variable or something. Because sometimes within Power Automate, you have different branches or for each or any different condition. And then sometimes the output from that is not available. So how I go around that is on the top, I add an initialized variable. If I can type correctly, initialize. And then let's say a variable socks. I want to make sure that it's a string because we are parsing through text. And then under my Teams card, I go to append to string variable. And then in here, I want to say my variable for socks. I want to make sure that my socks choice is then inside this variable. So what then happens if I have different branches or for each or a condition or any other area, that I can actually use this variable throughout that whole flow, and it doesn't really matter where it is. So then I can, for example, let's say this is a really deep nested email. I can just add my variable socks, and there it is. And then that's the output from that adaptive card. And then once somebody gets this within Teams, and I will show you what it looks like. Run the flow. here it shows within my teams, it shows the card that I've just designed. And I'm going to say, hey, I like Power Pages. Hugo's here. I like Power Pages. Hit submit. And then in my flow, it gets that output. And it stores it in my variable socks that I've selected Power Pages. And then you can use that to feed that into your Power App or any other thing that you may want to use it for. So that's about it. And let me go back here. And that was my explanation on how to get Power Automate to get the team's output for you. Are there any questions?
Awesome, Nathalie. This is great. If there's questions, we'll look in the chat just in the interest of time and everything. But an excellent demo. Thank you for sharing such simplicity and fantasticness, and love how you brought everything together, right? It's not just one product or another product, but you're really showing how they work together there. So excellent job. Thank you very, very much. All right. Next up is Dastan, who is going to talk about making HR benefits enrollment more fun with Power Apps, Power Automate, and SharePoint. More better together goodness. So Dastan, take on over.
Hey everyone, my name is Dastan. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Dave. So I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, looks great.
Awesome. Today I will be showing you a Power App, Canviz app we use to make HR benefits enrollment fun. The app is called Benefits Land, Your Open Enrollment Adventure. I have a small presentation, and after that, I will demo the app. I will try to be as quick as possible. All right, some quick facts. So I work for Southern New Hampshire University. We have more than 3,000 students on campus, and we also have 200,000 online students. We have 5,000 employees that support this big number of students. So when you have this big number of community students, learners, and staff members, you have some challenges. And one of those challenges is communication. So people don't read their emails. According to a survey, 30% of employees admit that they don't read their email from their employers. And then another survey, even from those people who open their email, they actually just look for images, videos, interactions and infographics. If they don't find anything like that, they just close the emails. If you are guilty of that, you can just react to this chat. I'm guilty myself. I usually, if the email has a lot of text, I just skip over it, try to find bullet points. But to try to make this fun and create an interactive way to make employees engage, what is the better way than using Power Platform? So we just did that. We used Power Platform to make a really fun way to engage employees and make an interactive app. For those who don't know what open enrollment is, so open enrollment is a period of time once a year where employees can change and sign up for the benefits that are being offered by the employer, by the organization, like health insurance, for example. So we created an adventure style game using Power Apps, Canviz app. We also used Power Automate, SharePoint lists. We also used Microsoft Teams, and my colleague, she helped me with the design. She used Adobe Illustrator and Adobe XD. I also want to mention that we did not use any premium licensing in this app. Everything you see is SharePoint list. We didn't use Dataverse and Power App Canviz app. And there was a big turnout. So in 2 weeks, 1,000 employees participated. I think when we closed the app, there were half of the number of employees participated in the game. This is my LinkedIn account if you have any question at the end of the demo. And this is my colleague Liz Karam, who helped me with the design. Demo time. So this is the Power App game. So as you can see in the bottom of the page, I put a little chat person that walks you through the game. And if you haven't noticed, this is myself and the cat. Also, like Liz made that character of me. On the top, we have, I put a little music so you get entertained while you are playing the game. Those are the steps. So you start here and there are several steps to get to the end of the game. The computer at the end of the road shows you what percentage you have finished. So we are at 86% right now. So if you click on start here, that will show you a little video that was made by Sean, one of my colleagues. It just shows you how to play the game. And then you start with those steps. What I have done with each of the steps is when you click on the step, it takes you to, some of them are videos, some of them are PDF files. So you have to watch the whole video for a button on the top to show up. You cannot skip the video. You can click to pause it or play it back. And once you finish the video, like I said, a button will show up. I have already finished this task, so it tells me I have finished this task. But if I haven't, it will show me a button. Once I click on the button, I mark this task as finished, and it will show on the home page. As you can see, we have used some design, some GIF files here. We put a hospital here, all the medical tasks around hospital. We also put a dental office. And as you can see, the dentist is working on someone's teeth inside. We put dental tasks around the dental, and bank and all the finance tasks around the bank. We also, I want to mention my favorite character, which is the Bigfoot, sitting around a fire camp with marshmallow on his hand in the woods. So like I mentioned, some of the tasks are PDF files. For those PDF files like this one, I put a timer, 40 seconds, to finish reading the PDF file. After you finish reading it, it will ask you a question. If you know the question, then the button will show up. If you don't know the answer, then it will give you another 40 seconds to finish it and try again. So I just want to demo the last task. But before I do that, I just want to mention, like, how did I do this? So each one of those are buttons, and those are not a gallery because they were like in different places throughout the screen. So I could not use a gallery. Those are individual buttons. So when you click a button, it actually puts a variable, like I used A, B, C, D. It puts, for example, for this one, letter A into a variable and carries it over to the screen. And when I click on complete this task, it would put it into a SharePoint list, my name and what task that I have completed and what is the status and also the day and time. When I click, I haven't finished this task, so I just have couple seconds left. This is a video it's playing right now. So the video finished and the button showed up. I can click on mark this task as complete. This will patch the task that's assigned to this one, and it's task at completed, and you can see the status change. It tells me congratulations, I've finished the game. The character now is dancing. It's 100%, and if I click on the screen, it will tell me what is the next steps that I need to do. Any questions?
This is so cool, Dastan. I mean, everybody's loving it. I'll let you answer. There's some questions in the chat, of course, in the interest of time, and our next presenter, I'll let you look there. Really amazing stuff. Love how you brought everything together. It was mentioned gamification, edutainment is another term. Really great way to get everybody involved. Love the animation, love the fun. Really just fantastic. Benefits land, that's fun. I feel like we need to get Justin Timberlake involved in some SNL skits. So bring it on back to Benefits land, right? Great job. Really love it. Thank you so so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Excellent work. Great job. Okay, next up, we are going to hand it over to Christian McIntosh to talk about deep linking a Power App to replicate InfoPath. So Christian, take it away.
All right, I'm going to get ready to share my screen here. Good morning, my name is Christian McIntosh. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I currently work for Arkansas Electric. And today I'll be showing you how I deep linked the Power App to replicate some of the features that we had provided with InfoPath. So I'll get to the agenda. So I plan on completing the form and showing you the perspective of an end user as they were to submit that form. And after that, I'm going to go into an in-depth explanation of how I used 3 different Power Apps and tied them all together with one Power Automate, and then go into a little bit more detail of how I replicated some of the controls that were provided with InfoPath. And here's the resources of 2 blogs that I found very useful. And so now we can begin the demo. I'll drag my screen over here. And as you can see, I've created a communication site and I've provided a list. So after the user submits a form, they can see the status of the form that they just completed. So we'll go ahead and create a new form. And just to give you a little background context, this is an equipment transfer or removal form. So anytime that a member of our company is looking to remove some of the equipment in their office, such as a computer or office equipment, such as a bookshelf or a vehicle or things of that nature, they will complete one of these forms. And this is a way of us to keep track of the things that are being disposed of within our company. So as you can see, it's a pretty straightforward form. And the requested by and the date created fields are pre-populated with the user's email and today's date. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete the form and select the division and the company and enter a department number. And so now we have the approver email. And as you can see, Dr. Vader is my immediate supervisor. But if you were to remove an email, I have error message that is displayed, asking the user to put a valid email in the requested by field. And I will insert another email to show you an example where I am the immediate supervisor. And so we will keep going. So now I select the category of the item to remove and we'll do a computer. If you scroll down, you see that the stage is set to tech support, but if I were to select office equipment, the stage would be changed to campus services and so on. So, but go ahead and remove a laptop. So I'll enter this information, do a removal. Then I have a serial number field that does not allow you to enter letters. And so I just put some numbers in there, and then we'll just say that the laptop is broken. And I also have a cancel pop-up just in case you would like to discard any information, and this will return you to the communication site. So go ahead, select no, and submit the form. And after the success screen, I have a timer that is ran, and it will take us back to the communication site. And so if we scroll down, we can see the list, and we can see the status of the submission is now waiting to be approved. And if we come to Outlook, we will see that the approval has been sent. And so this is the email that the immediate supervisor will receive, and it basically contains some information about the form, such as the form type, item description, who was created by, and things of that nature. But just in case they would like to be provided with more information, I've also provided a link to the completed form. And this is my first use of deep linking. And this is a separate Power App from the original form completion Power App. And none of these fields can be edited. It would just be a hard copy, and like I mentioned earlier, just to provide them with more information. So get out of that. Go ahead and approve the request, and you can enter comments if you would like. Okay, now it's been approved. If we wait a second, 3 more emails should be sent out. There they are. I initially send another email to the submitter letting them know that their request has been approved. And then I send a hard copy email to the submitter, similar to the email that I sent to the immediate supervisor. And here I've used a little HTML to make the email look better. And if they click the form button in the center of the email, they will be taken to the same Power App that I provided to the immediate supervisor. So none of the fields can be changed. It would just be sort of like a hard copy. And so I'll come down, because our stage was set to tech support, they will receive a notification as well. And if they click the form button, they'll be taken to a different form. And I'll go into the explanation here in just a second. But I've also provided a hyperlink at the bottom of the page to a specific tech support page, and they can see all the items that are assigned to them. And if you look on the left, you will see this edit form hyperlink, which was a feature of InfoPath that I went ahead and replicated and added to the SharePoint list. And if they click this, it would also take them to the specific form. And this is the third Power App that I've created. And so I'll go into a little bit of detail about what's going on. So on the top left-hand part of the screen, they have a back button, which is another pop-up I created that can either take you to the tech support or campus services page. And on the right, on the top right-hand part of the scene, there's a change view control that I've created. And this was another feature of InfoPath. And so to scroll down, these are the questions that are specific to tech support, but if you select campus services, we will see the campus services questions. And this is another, as I mentioned, feature of InfoPath. So also, if you scroll down, you see the questions that they will need to answer. And I've added another send email control, which is another feature of InfoPath. And to test this out, this allows the analyst to send a quick email to the submitter. Just, see what time you would like to pick up the equipment or anything of that nature. But I'll just go ahead and just send a test email to show you if this works. And send. I'll display the notification at the top of the screen. If we heard the sound. So now we can see that the email has been sent. And so now I'll show you the 3 Power Apps and explain what I did. So here's the first form. And we have the first 2 fields, which I'm pretty sure you're familiar with. I've just used the user email function and the now function. And then if we come down to the approver email, I've used the Office 365 connector and the manager function that's located within it. And I went ahead and passed in the requested by field. And so I put an if error on the outside of that because Power Apps will display an error message if this is not a valid email. And so in spite of that, I just went ahead and displayed a blank field in the approver email field. And then I have a separate error message that I've used, and I used the coalesce function to where I basically check to see if the requested by field is a valid email. And if it's not, I ask the user to enter a valid email and display that error message. So we scroll down, and these forms or these fields were just items that I input into a SharePoint list and displayed them in an edit form control. And if we go to the bottom, the stage is not an edit. You cannot edit the stage. This is based on the category selection. So I have 2 if statements basically stating that if the user selects computer or computer equipment, then the stage is tech support. And if not, then the stage would be campus services. For the cancel pop-up, I've created a variable on start named variable pop-up, which is a Boolean, and I went ahead and set it to false. And on the select of cancel, I set that variable to true. And on the left-hand side, I've grouped a rectangle in the background to kind of give it that pop-up feel. Then I use a little HTML to create the box as well as the labels. Well, I used the label control to create the labels and then 2 buttons. And that's just about it for this form. So I'll go ahead and go to the second one. And this is my first use of deep linking. And so we'll start on start. And I use the collect function. And I went ahead and created a new collection to store my data source. And this helped with any delegation warnings. And then after that, I created a new variable called variable employee ID. And I used the param function, which allows me to add a string to the end of the URL. And this will kind of make more sense when I show you it in the Power Automate. And let's see, then on my first screen, I inputted a gallery with my data source. Let's see. But I go ahead and start the user on the user screen. And I have a timer that goes off after 1 second. And this is what provides us to this specific record. So I have an if statement basically saying that if the variable employee ID, which I created on start, is not equal to 0, then I go ahead and create another variable called var record. And I look up, and I use the lookup function with the new collection that I created on start, which is my data source. and I provide that form ID, which takes us to this specific record. And the default mode of this form is view because I don't want any of the fields to be changed. And I think that's pretty much it for this form. So now we go to the third form. And I've used the same deep linking process that I used for the second form, but I've added a few more controls. And so the top left is another pop-up that I've created, which I'll select. I use the launch function on select of either of these buttons to take them back to the communication site and their respective page. So either the campus services page or the tech support page. And on the right-hand side, I provided a drop-down and a label, which is a feature of InfoPath. And on the selection, the visibility of certain fields changes. And so because I selected campus services, the campus services banner appears, and these are campus services questions. But if you select tech support, then the tech support questions will appear. And then the send email is another pop-up that I've created. And so I've just inputted some text fields and then a rich text editor. And once you select send, I use the Office 365 function or connector, Office 365 Outlook connector. I use the send email function. I go ahead and pass in these three inputs. And then I reset the boxes just in case the user would like to send another email. Then I send a notification at the top of the screen just to let them know that the email has been successfully sent. And let's see. And on my save changes, I've also created another Power Automate within this Power app, and which is basically just an update item. So anytime a form is canceled or completed, this Power Automate will run. I go ahead and check and see if the selection is yes, and then I run that Power Automate. And after that, I just submit the form. So now I'll show you the Power Automate. And as you can see, I did run a test because I didn't want to spend my whole 15 minutes waiting on the Power Automate to run. And so the initial trigger is when an item is created. I go ahead and update the approval status so the end user will know that their form is being processed and waiting to be approved. After that, I start and wait for approval. I enter some dynamic content so the immediate supervisor will know a little bit about the form. And here's my first use of deep linking. I got this URL from our Power Apps shared pane, where, like, just in case you would share and play an app and put it into your browser. And at the end, I added a hide navigation bar just to make it look a little better. And this form ID is the string that we entered into the param function. And then I went ahead and added the ID, which is the form number. And that takes us to the specific record that we're looking for. And so, and I should also mention, this is the second Power App. And so if we come to the left, I've added a failure notification step because for my company, these emails are not being sent from my account. They're sent from a user account. So just in case of anything or any step in the approval process goes wrong, I would like to be notified about it. And we come to the right-hand side, I've created a condition to where if the outcome is equal to approve, we have approved steps. So first I send an approved notification to the submitter, basically letting them know that their request has been approved. Then I'm able to get this hyperlink within the SharePoint list, which is a feature of InfoPath. So come back. And then I also enter the third Power App because this is the Analyst Power App with the third deep link URL. That's not it, which is the third Power App. All right. And so if we scroll down, I have another failure notification step because the send the HTTP request is the main reason of where this Power Automate will break. So I would like to be notified if that is not working. And so I've set the configure run after to when the send HTTP request has failed. And so come to the left-hand side, I go ahead and update the approval status again and set the status to approved. And then I go ahead and send that submitter email. And here's where I've used a little HTML and I've inserted the dynamic content within the HTML to provide a better looking email for the end user. And on the right-hand side, I have another condition of where I send the tech support email when an item is assigned to them or the campus service email. And at the bottom is where I provide the URL to their respective pages. See if we scroll back up. And then scroll up a little bit more. There it is. Okay. And so this is all when a request has been approved. If the request has been rejected, I just go ahead and send a rejected notification, and then I delete the item from the SharePoint list. And I think that's just about it. Thank you for your time.
Christian, awesome job. Really well thought out. Tons of comments in the chat. I think there's some questions in there as well. I will let you take a look at that. Really well done. Was thinking that when you do have Darth Vader and there's a laptop problem and someone's needed to send back their laptop, it should automatically say this laptop has failed me for the last time when that gets sent out. So
that'd be perfect. That would be perfect.
All right. Well, thank you all for your presentations today. Nathalie, Dastan, and Christian, a really fantastic job. I think everybody's wanting to celebrate you. Great job. Again, first-time presenters, everybody on the call, just really fantastic. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you want to be a presenter as well. All right, let's talk about some resources that are available to you. There are tons of things available within our community. We've got our Power Platform community front door that starts to aggregate all the amazing things that are being done, videos and samples. You can always connect with the individual products and teams and community on the communities. So Power Apps, Automate, Pages, and Power Virtual Agents. Speaking of community calls, we have a plentiful plethora of them. Power Platform developer community calls are available to you. So the first is the Microsoft 365 platform. This is weekly. This happens on Tuesday. These are only Microsoft presenters, so it's great to start getting a little bit more in-depth and involved with the PG groups, the product groups as well. The next couple of weeks are just an open Q&A, so feel free to join. It's going to be relaxed. Bring your coffee or tea, and we're going to just chat together on some questions and ideas that you might want to talk about. We've also got the Microsoft Identity Platform, Office add-ins, and Power Platform, which you are on right now. And then we've got our sibling calls, the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development, which is every other Thursday. So that actually is happening tomorrow. And the Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework call happens on the opposite of that. So every other Thursday. You can download all the recurrent invites from aka.ms/powerplatform/community-calls. Again, thank you all for attending today. Fantastic communication, collaboration, and chat. You are all amazing. The recording will be available on the Microsoft 365 Community YouTube channel within usually about 24 hours now. You're not going to be able to download it from the chat. It's going to make it look like you can. You won't be able to unless you're within Microsoft. So definitely go subscribe at aka.ms/m365pnp/videos, and you'll get alerted as soon as that's available. You can follow us on Twitter at Microsoft 365 Dev or at M365PNP. Our next call next month, next year, woo, it's almost here, January 18th, 2023. Again, you can access that at aka.ms/powerplatform community call and all of our other community calls at aka.ms/powerplatform/community calls. So again, thank you all for being amazing. Enjoy the rest of the year, however you're going to spend it. And we appreciate all that you're doing in the community. Keep it up. Really amazing people you are. So thank you so much.